2010 has been a challenging year, but it's not all doom and gloom. There are some fantastic opportunities out there. But don't take my word for it. Here's a range of views on the current state of the market.
I think anyone that's honest will have admitted to the same fact that January, February, March they were probably trying to stab themselves with a lollipop stick because nothing was really moving at the pace everyone expected, and then all of a sudden the election and the budget went out the way, and it was like a stampede. Everyone all of a sudden started placing those orders they'd had in the pipeline, in the forecast that they'd kept promising, and activity just kicked off from there. So since about March, April, we've really marched on this year, which is great.
There's certainly a lot more business to be had now, and the spending seems to be coming up as well. People are taking shorter times to make decisions.
We're very optimistic about the run-up to Christmas. The order book looks good, it looks strong. The resellers are talking about some real grassroots opportunities. It's an exciting time for us, and I think certainly whilst we're not out of the woods yet in a recession point of view, the economy still is suffering a little bit. But business is coming through again.
You can see the amount of energy, the amount of buzz that's about the room, and that reflects the feedback that we get from customers around coming out of recessionary times. Not good times as yet, but the worst of the bad times are over.
People are starting to buy, they're starting to look around in the communication sector. Very lucky because the market is very buoyant. Obviously, communications are there to make your company more efficient. They're there to sort of create cost savings. So we haven't really been that affected too greatly. But they're excited about now being able to go and offer new solutions which perhaps don't have an immediate margin benefit, but which actually can be sexy. So for the first time, perhaps telecoms is getting a bit sexier.
There's a whole opportunity to wholesale lines to CPS because there's a lot of customers out there. There's a lot of land grab can still go on against the likes of BT and so on. But the mobile element is still a huge opportunity. This industry has got to get to grips with mobile. There's a lot of talking about it and not a lot of doing at the moment.
If you take Oak's percentage of new sales now, about 50% is call recording, about 30% is call logging, and about 15% is CTI, and about 5% is legacy voicemail. We're getting more mid-size, mid-range orders probably than we normally get, but we aren't getting a lot of very small entry-level sort of sub-20 extension type orders.
Very much a big growth area in SIP trunks and the replacement of ISDN, and we're seeing an explosion really in SIP trunks being sold in the higher end of the market, mid to large enterprise space. End users are very much asking for SIP trunks when they're coming out to tender for their voice solutions now.
Where we've seen the real growth this year is in a movement from what I might call internet-facing connectivity to private. So they kind of had their broadband for getting email and web browsing, and now they're thinking, I want to do a bit more with my connectivity, but I don't really want to do it over the web. So they're moving to private networks. So we're selling lots of MPLS networks. We're selling loads of Ethernet. I mean, our Ethernet sales have gone up something like 12,000% or something. I mean, just gone crazy.
We're seeing quite a significant increase in call centres. I'd say from all the market centres from us, maybe we've just struck lucky, but call centres, inbound and outbound, are on the uptake.
We sell an enormous amount of analogue phones, then we sell a lot of DECT phones, and now we're selling a lot of IP phones. The analogue hasn't gone away. So people are still requesting the handsets to go on their solutions they've had for 20 years.
In terms of where the market is, really it's the hosted market, the IPPX market, both of which are growing. There are people that still think of it as dark art and God knows what, but it is something that it is here to stay, and once people grasp it and get their heads around it and understand it, they do realise that it does have a lot of value and a lot of benefit, and particularly for a reseller selling it into an organisation, he can actually make himself a far better presentation of himself, but also he can make more margin for himself than selling into the traditional channels and traditional products.
Cloud computing and hosted services are the big buzzwords right now, but are they selling? Here's the industry view.
What we're hearing from our resellers and our partners out there that hosted has come of age. We're taking it serious. We've got to be talking about the cloud.
Our partner channel has grown very rapidly over the last kind of 12 months or so, with kind of the big hosted boom, as it were. Everyone's talking UC and hosted products, and that's where we're seeing kind of a vast pickup.
We recently launched our own hosted IP voice service, and normally we launch a product and it slowly ramps up over a period of years. Within the first few months we've signed up 36, as of last week, 36 channel partners to take that product out to market. By Christmas I'm sure we're going to have between 40 and 50 more.
It seems that all of a sudden people are more ready or more convinced that hosted IP can do a job for them. Because of the economic climate, they're saying, well, you know, let's not buy the hardware. And of course now the opportunity to push your hosted IP service, it's a great time, great marketplace, and that's why Frontier has seen the growth in that area.
Is the industry growing? Yes, it is. The talk about cloud computing is an absolute obvious example of that. But even at this show today, there's a lot of talk about hosted applications, hosted infrastructure, hosted PBX. That's all being hosted in data centers. So the data center industry is growing, and also the number of participants in it are growing as well.
We talk about hosted. I mean, I think we've got to the point now where probably 80% of our resellers are saying that they're more frequently coming up against a hosted solution. Hosted cloud environments. Looking at data, looking at virtualization is where the resellers are coming up against things in the market.
Things like hosted desktop, hosted CRM. The reality is actually the demand is quite small. There are a number of things which have to happen before you're going to see a real takeoff, but all this connectivity is leading up to a situation where we're probably 2/3 of the SME market will buy their applications by the month, by the seat from the cloud.
More and more end users have at least heard of a hosted alternative for, be it voice or be it Microsoft Exchange or whatever. So I think it would still be fair to say that there is a lot of vendor push going on. You know, we've had this bright idea, we've got this shiny new product. But I think once explained, users are actually buying into the benefits that these services can provide. And I think particularly, for example, hosted voice in a multi-site environment, the benefits become very compelling once explained. I think where that's less certain is some of the more far-reaching UC advocates talking about, well, I can save you 10 minutes in your day. That's not really a very compelling argument. There has to be a real business benefit built around that. And I think we're starting to see more and more of that now as people realise you can't just talk about some shiny new product that you've got and expect people magically to see the benefit immediately.
Market conditions at the moment are absolutely fantastic for good resellers who know their products and they know the features and can position it into the customer, because the important thing is that businesses that have been through the last few years are leaner, fitter, more efficient, and they've got some big demands about the way they want to operate. You know, going back to technologies from a few years ago and treating the phone as a phone just isn't an option for the kind of businesses around these days that have to leverage every halfpenny they spend to improve the way that they do business. And we're getting that feedback from our resellers. Their customers are coming to them with really serious demands about the way they get every halfpenny from their investment.
Customers and channel partners alike, I think everybody's feeling that business is harder. But having said that, I think we're having just about our most successful year at the moment. We're pulling in more channel partners than we ever have done before, and their businesses are growing as quickly as they've done in the past. So, whilst there is some negativity out there, I think the flip side of that is that customers are looking to still save money, looking for better ways to manage their businesses, and where we can offer solutions to benefit those customers, then in turn we're benefiting.